we'll have a giant studio in Chicago in no time. Believe me. Believe me. All right, we are back on Bad Habits Podcast. We realized that we forgot to do an introduction in the very beginning because Matt and my dad, Rick, by the way, we have a new guest here today. Dad, this is Rick. He wanted to join us and have some fun today, so he's here. Matt and Wish and Rick were really rocking and rolling when we started it up, and I didn't want to interrupt them, so I just started recording. So, quick little introduction, and as if you couldn't tell, this episode's about the Second Amendment and guns. So. Alrighty, Matt, you wanted to say something. We took a little break, and I wanted to jump right back into that.
Kind of going off of what Rick was talking about with illegal guns, being brought in the country, and we're kind of alluding to like the government being responsible for some of it or a lot of it. Not sure how much, but we know for a fact under Obama and Eric Holder, the ATF basically released. I don't know. I forget the number. It was tons. Thousands of illegal guns, and they gave them to basically Mexican cartel members.
Fast and Furious?
Fast and Furious was the operation.
Yeah.
And the hope was that they were going to like have this, great kind of like sting where they, track these illegal guns and arrest these cartel members.
Backfired big time.
Yeah, in the process, hundreds probably, I'm sure, of innocent Americans, and probably, Mexicans in Mexico were killed using these illegal guns. So that's just one of the like kind of points that it's like, they're everyone's worried about what legal gun owners are doing and what our part is in.
But what the hell is our government
doing?
But
what, it's okay for the government to act completely irresponsible. Sure. But, guys like me, who I just checked, I've been carrying a gun on me every day since 2017. Haven't shot or killed anyone. Rick's had guns for a long time. I'm pretty sure he hasn't, killed anyone that I know of.
Dad?
He's like,
no, not yet.
I've been, well.
No. Do you want to talk about it?
No.
Skip.
Huh?
No, I didn't.
No.
But no.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, the government, again, it goes back to the Second Amendment, and I think you really have to. What was in the minds of the
founders?
The founders who wrote these amendments and wrote our Constitution. So many things they had to think of the future and what they were writing and how it would affect the future. And so, when they say that they're trying, giving civilians the right to bear arms against tyrannical governments, against foreign governments, you really have to look at where is this world today, and I don't. Nobody out there has the facts on this, but I know there's a certain amount of truth to it, that our government does a lot of things that are illegal.
And illegal and downright wrong.
I'm not blaming one particular president. I would say that every president out there has allowed illegal, or maybe not even known about, these factions or divisions within the CIA and the FBI and all these things that are running covert operations for either for information or for what they think maybe is a good thing, but turns out just like that not to be so good when Americans are getting killed by guns that were given to cartel criminals by our own government.
Yeah, I don't think that, to be honest with you, I think a lot of that is, I don't think the president really even has much of a say in it. I think the CIA heads a lot of that shit, and if the president likes it or not, I don't think they give a
like
shit.
I said,
they're going to do it, they're going to do it.
So many of them are covert operations that bleed from one presidency into another presidency. And the president probably, he has no real idea of what kind of operation the CIA is running for a particular
until it hits the
reason
papers, he may not know about it.
you know, and
right?
Yeah, I'm
there
sure
goes,
there's
you know, a whole lot more podcasts than what the CIA has done, and
We are CIA.
Charles Manson, and you know, so many things where the CIA has been involved with illegal things that have gone on. John F. Kennedy. I
Yes.
mean, there's, you know, nobody has really gone to jail for any of this stuff or been proven to have done anything, but
Jeffrey Epstein.
there were, there are. So, you know, our government can be very dangerous.
Let
to
me just
people
throw
out
in real
there.
quick. 2 people have been charged in the Epstein case.
Yeah?
Yeah, only 2. None of the billionaires involved going to his island, but the 2 security guards that were on site at the
Oh,
at
the two
jail.
security
Yeah.
guards
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
when they do sell pot or something.
No, they
Walk
allegedly
the door.
fell asleep during the suicide. They were probably drugged.
Oh, the security
Oh,
guards
yeah,
in the
so the
prison. Okay, I
correctional
got you
officers.
now.
Yeah, correctional officers. My bad.
Right.
Excuse me. Rather.
Yeah.
No, CIA. They'll never do anything wrong. Nothing bad.
Well, that's what I kind of think. The Second Amendment thing, you know, the importance of it is kind of coming full circle now. I mean, we see the way they're trying to restrict other freedoms. You know, there's a kind of debate with whether, you know, are they going to try and force people, you know, to take these vaccines if you don't want to. You know, I mean, who knows where they've been trying to lock us up for how many, you know, months and not let us go out. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and with the riots that it kind of, I think, and that's why I think there are a lot of new gun owners, because people are starting to see, like, you know, maybe we should trust the government on everything that they're doing.
I'm going to go down a little conspiratorial road here. I'm not really saying this is 100% what I think, but I think some of those riots, clearly those riots were motivated and grew by means of the media, people jumping in, they see it on TV, they were jumping in, right? That's how it got to be so big so quick.
Yeah.
Through Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. To go down the conspiratorial road a little bit, it makes me wonder if those riots were intentionally planned to get bigger, to incite more violence, to come after guns. I mean, is that crazy? Because we know the government's full of
who
shit.
knows?
We can't trust them. Is that plausible?
Sure,
I think
it's
it's
plausible.
It's definitely
No, like
Yeah,
Kyle
it's
Rittenhouse, the
plausible.
kid in
Yeah.
Wisconsin. Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Kyle
Yeah.
Rittenhouse?
No, sure.
Is it possible that they were hoping for about 40 more Kyle Rittenhouses?
I mean, man,
And
I
then
wouldn't
how
put
easy
anything
would it
past
how
them.
They
easy
might have
would it
been
be to come
expecting
after your
40
guns
more, you know?
if there was actual civil war inside during those riots in every or most major cities in America? Wouldn't it be really easy to start going after guns after that? But it didn't happen. Most people were pretty
Well,
relaxed.
you gotta
and
look at-
it
They
didn't
were
quite happen
disciplined.
as bad.
Yeah.
But the people that were doing the harm was the
Oh, liberal cocksuckers.
Well, you know, I
Burning
was
shit.
I was gonna bring this up while we were talking about the pair of lawyers that were defending their home in St. Louis.
Would
You
you like
know,
some
that
sausage?
they had a right to stand there with a gun and defend their home. Now, on the flip side of that, do I believe that Kyle Rittenhouse, as being a citizen of the state of Illinois, has a right, as a minor, to get an illegal gun because a friend of his purchased it for him, to go to Wisconsin
defend businesses
and
that aren't
defend
his.
businesses that it's not his hometown, it's not his community, it's not, you
I
know,
think that kid
it's
was
not
just,
his home. I just, in my own feeling, this is my opinion, that maybe he has a bit of a mental issue,
I think he's stupid.
that he felt like he wasn't doing anything wrong. I think he felt like he was doing
Something
good,
patriotic.
to,
Sure.
you know, safeguard these businesses and people in this community against the rioters and everything. And I don't think he ever had any intention on shooting
I don't
anybody.
think so either.
But then because he's showing this force standing out in front of people like he's something with a gun that, you know, I think at some point they realized, well, you ain't so fucking tough. And so they started in after him, and he felt that, you know, maybe they were going to kill him, and he shot them. And it's unfortunate, because I don't think the kid is a killer or ever meant to be a killer. I think what he wanted to do was feel like he was being helpful in protecting businesses, even though he should not have been there and he shouldn't have been there with a gun.
I couldn't agree more. I think the kid's just stupid.
And I think he's gonna be guilty, and I think he's gonna be guilty, and I think he's gonna go to jail, because I don't see any other reasoning for him not to go to jail. I think that whether he wanted it to end up that way or not, I don't think that he thought, I'm gonna get a gun, I'm gonna shoot as many of these motherfuckers as I can. I don't think that was ever his intent, and I feel bad for him in the respect that he felt like he had to kill someone to protect himself, but he put himself into that situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Would you think differently if that was, if he was a grown man and that was his own business and he was out there protecting the front of his business?
I would feel differently, yes. I would feel that that person is doing everything they can to protect their business, and when people were trying to invade the business and harm him, he's simply protecting himself. I think that Kyle Rittenhouse went to look for trouble.
Matt, I don't think you want to say something.
This one's a tough one. I don't know. I feel like I go back and forth on it a lot. I think it's pretty complex when you break it down. I don't think he should have been there. I don't think, well, technically nobody should have been there because there's an 8 o'clock curfew, so.
Shouldn't have been going on at all.
Yeah,
period.
so the rioters should have been there in the first place. So you say no one should have been there. Now, it's tough. I don't know, it's tough because if you look at, I've looked at some different theories and some different lawyers going back and forth on stuff, and you know, the actual shooting part, I mean, he does have certain elements of self-defense because technically he never was an aggressor to anyone. He was attacked by multiple people, and I think there's a good case for that self-defense. But when you come from another state and, you know, whether you think you're doing the right thing or not, it's not going to look good. I mean, it doesn't look good for him.
At what point are you responsible for yourself when you put yourself into a situation like that?
Yeah, you do put yourself, I mean, he put himself in a bad spot. I don't know. It's a tough situation, man.
Kid was stupid.
Part of me is like, man, that kid's fucking awesome. He killed, you know, people that were fucking trying to kill him. Like, he did, you know, his best to survive. And then part of me's like, oh no, he's a fucking idiot. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of, like, if I was in his shoes, like, you know, and I was there, like, you know, if you thought you were doing the right thing for your country, for, you know, a community that, you know, it's not his community, but it's not too far away. I mean, part of me wants to, you know, resonate with that a little bit. Like, I think he meant to do the right thing. I think he thought he was helping. But then, you know, and you see all these people that get beat up by Antifa thugs and, you know, never defend themselves, they get dragged off, and so part of me's like, yeah, like, you know, finally someone fucking stood up to these, you know, thugs. So I think a lot of people are kind of split. So I think there's a sentiment like, hey, you know what, if someone finally, you know, show these fucking people, like, we're not gonna just sit there and let you throw bricks at us, burn our business and shit. But then also, when you look into it, then you're like, yeah, but man, I don't know. It's no business for a 17-year-old to be there and, you know,
He's not even a grown man.
So it's
he's
like,
not even a grown man.
I
He's
mean,
a boy.
it's
In the
like-
eyes
like
of the
you
law,
said,
he's a boy.
Sentimentally, I'm on his side. I
Yeah.
don't think he was a bad kid, and I don't think he was looking to go there and kill people.
Yeah.
But do I think that he was legal in what he did? No, I don't really think that obviously it wasn't legal, because number one, he's a minor, number two, he's got an illegal gun. Just another way of people to get illegal guns. He has a friend who buys him a gun. Whether or not the intentions were meant, you know, for anything like that, it doesn't matter. The friend is now in trouble for purchasing an illegal gun for a minor, that there was a murder.
It's just a bad situation overall.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I try and look at, I'm glad that, he wasn't, beat up by this mob, and I think he probably could have been killed by this mob. So, but at the same time,
Yeah, Rosenbaum had a fucking gun.
I mean, my biggest problem is these other people weren't held accountable too. I think that would make this a lot better. No one that attacked him was charged.
Nope.
No one that was there that had a gun on the left was charged. But,
Well,
there was multiple. It takes more than just. There's more than just one person that was there that was not right. Right.
you know that every district attorney is going to have a scapegoat, and
Yeah.
so Kyle Rittenhouse ends up being the scapegoat for the whole thing, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, I don't think that the kid was really a bad kid.
No, I don't think he
I
went there to
kinda
kill people.
think, and I don't know this for sure, but just by some of the things I've seen, I'm not sure he was 100% there, mind-wise. I think he was a little bit of a nicety happy kid, and
Nice city, happy kid. What?
He might have just had like a need to just feel like he had to be part of a cause that was greater than himself. Or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like fulfill him because he didn't have that. Because I mean, who the fuck, just like you said, gets the gun from his friend, goes over the state lines, just selflessly, an altruistic motive, maybe, I don't know, just helps these people that are over there, and all that shit happens. I don't.
well, I mean, I used to be a small business owner, so if I knew, and where he's at in Illinois is not far away from, what town was that?
Kenosha.
Kenosha. So he's like the next town across the state line in Illinois. So it's not like it's, he's going
Scrambling out
Hundreds
his
of
way.
miles.
hundreds of
Yeah.
miles across the state
Yeah.
lines. I mean, it's probably 10 minutes from his town to
Yeah.
Kenosha.
Yeah.
So when they make it say like across state lines, they make it seem like he's traveled a long distance to accomplish his objective, sort of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, me being a small business owner, or previously a small business owner, and, my business was in Orland Park. So let's just say, the country is going through riots and different things and whatever, and I become aware that there are going to be riots maybe in a certain part of Tinley Park or something like that, the next town over from me, and I decide, okay, I know a couple of the business owners over there. I'm gonna go over with them tonight and I'm gonna help them protect their business, just like if something like that were scheduled down my street where my business is, maybe there would be people that would help me protect my business too. Would I go there with a gun? Probably not. I would probably go there with a baseball bat. Probably, I mean, and if somebody shot me, then somebody shot me, but I wouldn't go there to make it a gun thing. But if I was trying to help protect a friend and their business, I would probably not take anything stronger than a
To-
baseball bat, because I don't wanna
You
be
don't-
I don't wanna be killing people.
You don't
I
want.
really
You also.
don't.
You don't want to.
I don't wanna incite other people
the
to kill
other
either.
aggressors.
Right,
Correct.
but I want something to protect
So
myself.
perhaps maybe the smart thing to do in a situation like that would be to bring your bat, because the bat kind of says, "Listen, I'm not taking any shit from you, and I'm standing my ground." But it might also be smart to have a small little handgun in your ankle. Don't show it, because you don't want to incite that kind of issue. But you know that it's there. Should it really hit the fan, you got that too.
But again, and
But
I
only
wouldn't
show
be,
the bat.
I
I
wouldn't
don't
be
know.
out running the streets either. If I was over there trying to help somebody protect a business, I would be standing out front of their business, helping them protect their business, not chasing people up and down the street, which it seems like every video I've seen, Kyle Rittenhouse is running up and down the streets of Kenosha. And so where he's protecting a business or whatnot, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing him, you know, as an armed guard in front of a business. I'm seeing him running out in the streets with rioters and stuff carrying a gun. So
I don't see him standing in front of Ace Hardware.
I think that makes him more open to the crowd chasing him and being more vigilant against him, as opposed to if the crowd was going by and there's a few people standing up on the sidewalk against the wall of the business saying, don't fucking come over here and try and break this window or you're gonna get cracked upside the head with a baseball bat. You know, there's a little bit, now that's not gonna stop them from throwing their, what the hell they call it?
Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, Molotov cocktails
I
and,
mean-
and rocks and shit. I mean, I'm sure all that's gonna happen too, but I just don't think I would want to go there with a gun. I don't think I would.
I mean, I definitely don't think we've seen the whole story. And like I said, I don't know.
If you want more, I got more.
It's a hard situation. I don't know what's right or
That's
wrong, but you know, I think what we can all say is, I think the local governments need to take, you know, a look in the mirror. The blood is on their hands because these riots should have never happened in the first place, and these local
No.
liberal politicians.
They called the police off.
Yeah,
They
told
called the
police
police
to stand
off.
by.
Some of these
For
local-
a reason.
some of these
I
mayors?
mean,
They told police to stand down.
Chaz, you want to start your own city?
You know,
Go ahead.
They refused National Guard help from the federal government. You know, so to me, I feel they created this situation because you know what? Certain people are gonna get inspired to go out and do things, or think that
It's your bottle
Yeah.
of water.
they're gonna think that they're doing the right thing in their mind, or maybe you know they're not going there to kill people. But guess what? When people you know on both sides start getting violent, things happen, and this situation should never happen in the first place. So I blame the government. I blame these Democratic, you know, governors and you know mayors and local politicians that have continuously allowed this kind of behavior to happen.
They've
And they've
encouraged
done-
it.
they've
They've encouraged
encouraged
it. That goddamn
And-
mayor of Portland, Ted
Yeah.
Wheeler.
They've-
He's gone out there and cheered on with his people, and then what did they do after that? They threw Molotov cocktails through his fucking apartment.
You know, it's crazy. So I think it's, you know, yeah, you know, we look at, you know, a 17-year-old's decision making, and he made some poor decisions, but look at how many adults were involved in this that are directly responsible for this even being possible. That kid should never have been there, but no one should have been there. People should have been allowed to just burn down these businesses and
Yeah, I mean,
create mayhem. So this is the government's problem.
getting back to
No.
the issue is the gun. And he's a minor, and he was possessing an illegal gun. And that is just probably a super small percentage as to how people get illegal guns in this
Yeah.
country. You know, a friend,
Very small.
a
Yeah.
friend,
The majority
or,
of it's through gangs. Just hey,
yeah, a
500
friend or a
bucks,
family
here's a rock.
member goes out and buys a
1,000,
gun for
whatever.
someone who, for whatever reason, either has a felony background or is a minor
Yeah.
or something like that, that they're not allowed to own a gun, and somebody buys it for them with probably mostly good intent, but that is one form of
Yeah, straight
illegal
purchase.
guns.
You could build your own gun too as well. You can buy the parts, the separate parts, if you have the right tools, drill the right holes, and you have a functioning firearm.
you can build your own bomb
Yeah.
too.
You can
Uh,
build a
you
whole
can-
bunch of things.
You can do a
But you
gun
could
with,
be, like with an unregistered weapon, you know.
with
just
one of
buy
them
the part-
3D
parts
printers.
separately.
Oh yeah.
You can make a gun with a 3D printer.
Damn, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
You can.
Operational gun.
An
Yeah.
operational
Yeah.
gun
Yeah.
with a 3D printer,
Yeah, you can
yes.
print all the parts out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much almost what those kits are that you could buy. You could buy 80%, you know, pistols. So you basically, you know, it's 80% of the way done, but you have to, you know, buy the other components, and you have to drill certain parts or Dremel out certain parts to make it functioning. And you don't need to, like, you could just buy that, anyone. You don't have to have a background check or do
Oh,
anything.
shit.
Yeah,
You could
I
buy
did
it
not know
online.
that.
But, I mean,
because
you know, we're still kind of, I don't know, we're getting to the point where, like, how much is that actually? I don't know. You know, where we could go back and forth on. I don't have stats on how much. I feel like that's probably a smaller amount of the problem. You know, if we would focus on this. You know, like he said, you know, it could be maybe someone straw purchases something for someone, maybe someone prints something, but I mean, when they do these buybacks and stuff, and a lot of them, those are criminals that have committed crimes and they're turning their fucking guns, you know, you never see, you know, most of these criminals, they don't have 3D printed guns and shit. They got stuff that they fucking stole from somewhere or, you know, bought on the black market, you know,
Sure.
whether it came in from, you know, Mexico or whether it was just a stolen gun in the States that is resold. I mean, the possibilities are endless, you know. I don't know, but I guarantee you, they'll focus on, you know, oh, well, you know, it's us law-abiding gunners that are buying shit for other people. You know, they'll make it seem like instead of the small percentage, like you said, you know, they'll try and inflate those, you know, perceptions.
I think if the government took a look at every straw purchase out there and really crack down on inner city gangs
Yeah.
with guns and the cartels or whatever they may be that are supplying a lot of those illegal guns, that they could put a serious dent in the killings that go on in the inner cities. And unfortunately, and I don't say this to be racist or anything, but unfortunately it's blacks killing blacks in a lot of cases. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any white people in the gangs or that are shooting or getting shot or whatever, but I mean, that's basically what the stats say,
This is
is
Chicago, for
that's
sure.
what happens the most, and that's unfortunate. And I think a lot of people that live in those communities are fearful of turning, they probably know a lot of the people that are causing those problems in their communities, but are scared to say anything because they'll be next on the hit list. They'll be the ones to get the shots going through their window, killing their 3-year-old daughter sitting on the couch because they happen to talk to the police.
Yeah.
And just talking to the police, the policeman might have been driving down the road and said, you know, hey, I saw a puppy down the street. Was that yours? No, it wasn't. Thank you. But if a gang member sees that, it's like, that bitch be talking about the gang or whatever it is or something. And that night, shots come through the windows, you know. So they're scared to talk
Oh, yeah.
because of the gangs wield so much power in so many of the communities. You know, and unfortunately, and it's a whole nother issue of why or, you know, how to stop that, but, you know, it's the illegal guns that are causing most of the killings.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. I think,
How many guns do you own, Matt? One gun? What do you got?
38 revolver. A revolver.
How about you,
Well, hey,
Evan?
it's better than nothing. I got an AR-15 and then I got a Smith & Wesson 40.
many.
You don't have to name off every one of them, but how many you got?
Probably, let's see, 9 or 10.
No shit.
That's not that many
I thought you-
compared
I
to
didn't
some
know you had that
people.
Yeah.
I
think it's not crazy.
I'd like
I'm
another rifle or pistol, another shotgun or two, make it 6.
I got 12
I
or
want
13,
2 or 3.
and a lot of my
Yeah,
12 or
that's
13 are guns that were handed down to me
Yeah.
throughout my lifetime. You know, my first 410 shotgun, and you know, my first 12 gauge that I bought, and 12 gauges that Dad gave me, and a 20
Yeah.
gauge, and a 30-30, and I bought a 45-70, and I got a 38 revolver and a 9mm. Couple other guns in the cabinet or whatever, you know, but they're all just, for the most part, they're all basic hunting guns
Yeah.
in one way or the other, you know.
Personal defense weapons, just hunting, you know. utility
Well,
weapons.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be my personal defense, certain,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
only
I-
have a couple of handguns.
Yeah, I've got one on each side of the bed, and then,
Nice.
you know, I have other guns that are located in a couple of different spots throughout the house.
Dear,
But
I
then-
didn't even know that.
But then most of them are in the gun cabinet.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're not loaded or nothing. Now, there are some that are hanging up that are loaded and they're ready to rock and roll. If I'm on the move through the house, I can grab one on the way.
That's smart.
You
You
know?
never know. You literally never know.
Yeah.
You mapped it out, huh?
Yep. And it's way high enough that, you know, my granddaughter can't get to it, so.
That's what matters. Gun
Right.
safety.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's,
practice it.
yeah, I don't know, I think just I think a lot of issues can be solved with enforcing, you know, what's already, you know,
The rule's already
rules
on
we
the
already
books.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to create a bunch of new laws. But more importantly than just creating laws or enforcing, because a lot of law enforcement's enforcing as in they're arresting for it, but we need to prosecute. You know, arresting people for stuff does no good if they're not prosecuted and they're not sentenced. So, you know, and then I think, you know, we need to figure out why these, you know, these Democrat-run cities are such shitholes and,
Shitholes.
you know, managed so, you know,
Shithole
poorly. I
cities.
think if we, you know, turn stuff around, we could maybe, you know, eliminate some of the people that are so upset and, or, you know, turning to crime. And I mean, some people you're never gonna change, but, you know,
I think if I'll go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, if you're talking about like curbing like the statistics of murder and crime and shit, like in some sort of
Yeah.
way, prosecuting definitely, you know, enforcing the law for sure. But like if you want to get like the criminal mind, they don't fear the law. They don't fear the police. They don't fear dying. They don't fear going to prison. It's street cred, right? It's gaining a reputation. That dude's done 20 years, 40 years. He's an OG. You know, they don't fear that shit. They don't, like I said, they don't fear any of that shit. The prosecuting attorney, they don't fear the fucking judge. Someone without fear is like very, very fucking dangerous. I mean, you can prosecute them all day. Cool, they're gonna do 20 years. They're gonna come out. You're gonna go back on the block. And what do you know? That motherfucker's done 20 years. Hey, what's up, man? You know, slap up. What's good? Let's do this.
Yeah,
And
nice.
sometimes, unless they change, you know, I'm not saying, you know, that's the case, but sometimes they change it up. But I think I've always thought, like after getting out of the military, if you have to instill, since they have no fear, you have to instill fear. Like these people are savages. They will fucking take your life for a couple $100. Like,
Less than that.
Less than that. And so they're
Oh, I'd kill
animals.
someone.
So like you have to tap into a very dark side of yourself. And what they need to be taught is to fear their victim. That is because that's the only way that they're gonna maybe second guess their next move. They have but see, here's the issue. They've been shot so many times. And it just gains a reputation. It's until they die. It's just a really unhealthy mentality. They will, you know, it's just, they're soldiers. But I feel like, I don't know, as a society, if more people stood up for themselves, or just like, I mean, dude, the suburbs around us, like how many fucking robberies are going on?
Oh yeah, all the speedways.
Dude,
They just keep getting
like,
robbed.
it's getting bad, and like at
All the gas
gunpoint, man. It
stations.
wasn't like that 10, 20 years ago when we were kids.
Yeah.
And now, and I don't know if you guys heard this, but an officer in Chicago has heard from people who are arrested out in the city that they refer to the south suburbs as Candyland.
Candyland.
You didn't read that? But yeah, that's what we are in the south suburbs is Candyland, coming from some, you know, gang member they arrested in Chicago. But yeah,
Boy, am I glad I live far from Chicago.
yeah, so if, like I'm saying, if you want to really curb this, more people, and again, it's like, oh, well, more guns is more problems. Well, and that's like another point I wanted to make. I do believe that if you are carrying a gun, that there should be some sort of a quarterly shooting qualification to keep you sharp. There should be some sort of training, because if you're carrying a tool that can take a life one day, like you need to be good at what you fucking
What do you think about then every 3-4 year
Yeah, quarterly.
simple
3,
shooting
4
range?
no,
What
4 months.
what are your thoughts? A simple shooting
You would shoot
range
it like,
or-
you know, whole close
That's,
quarters, 3-5 feet, you shoot 10 feet, 15 feet. You'd shoot control pairs, hammer pairs, you'd shoot failure drills, 2 to the chest, 1 on the head, 2 to the chest, 1 on the groin. Like, I'm talking like military. Like, you're using, and that's just me, because,
but not most people can't shoot.
and
like
there
a
would
trained
be,
military.
I know, but there would, but
Or are you saying that you want
But
people to be?
but you also have a tool that can take away a life.
Sure.
I feel
I don't know. I don't really disagree.
even
with
though
your
you know an
idea.
80-year-old grandma who may only have one means of defending herself, I mean, she cannot do a controlled pair. She cannot, you know, do what I like a military thing that I'm asking. So there might have been some sort of standard, maybe a separate sort of qualification. But I do feel like there should be like a quarterly training, like if you are concealed carry, just because. I mean, I've had so much training, I know I can shoot a pistol, but let's say if you're an average Joe who's just trying to have some sort of means to defend yourself, you don't go shooting often, but the situation arises where, you know, you're unsure, like you pull the pistol out, you're on accident, you have the finger on your trigger, shooting yourself on accident or pulling it up the wrong way and already getting shot. And like there's so, like, you know, just the draw itself is its own thing.
Well, both of you two guys are concealed carry holders.
Yeah.
Do you have to take your class to get your how many classes is and how many hours total?
You
To
gotta
obtain
do,
it.
initially, unless you have military or law enforcement, it's 16 hours the first time.
Okay.
I just did my renewal. It's I'll say it's about like 3 or 4.
For the renewal.
Yeah, so for the renewal, you do an overview of the class, you know, work, and then you go and you shoot. You got
Is
to
that
qualify.
online or is that in person?
In
course?
person, yeah.
So
So you have to shoot.
to renew, and how good is your license for? Your,
Mine was from
concealed carry.
2017 until now.
So it's a 4-year thing? Oh, I'm sorry, a 3-year thing?
Till 20.
So it's about roughly a
Yeah.
3-year license. Okay. So you're saying to obtain a weapon, you think that people should go through a class, something similar
Well,
to
he's
that.
saying a concealed carry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I'm saying.
Well, it sounds like they do. So
Well, no, like when you apply for your license, or you know, and you go through the class, the instructional, the shooting, you know, do all that, but there is nothing after that for the next few years that requires you to take another test.
so are you saying that you think it should be an annual thing?
I do. I honestly
Because
think.
it sounds like it's every 3 years.
It's every 3.
I'm
I
not a
honestly like.
carry holder.
I think that
So
if people are carrying a gun, that like quarterly, you know, like you get and
Quarterly, every
dude, for real.
3 months.
Yeah, or maybe.
I don't.
Try-
most
try-
people don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, that is true, but I just think that there needs to be maybe a semi-annual test. Maybe it might not even take 10 or 15 minutes just to do a shooting test, just to prove that you can shoot this weapon. Because man, if you what you don't know is that if your finger's just to the right of the trigger, you're aiming that bullet's going to the right. If your finger's too far to the left over the trigger, that bullet's going to the left. You have to practice aiming or having the trigger right in the center of your finger, and then, like I said, knowing how to focus on the front sight tip. And if you're going for self-defense, like, you know, the what's it called, like the basics of like the fuck, I totally forgot about it. Like the failure drills, learning how to use it the correct way, to the chest, one head, to the chest, one on the groin. Like you got to be really good at that, or even to place 2 in the chest to have a small grouping. Like I feel like you got to have, it has to be practiced. A decent
Yeah,
amount.
but I think that a lot of people, if you're being attacked, you're happy if you hit them. You're happy if
But
you
what if you
hit them
miss?
anywhere, and we're right. No, I understand. What if you miss and you hit the little girl inside the window in the house next door? So yeah, I absolutely understand that point, but I think in a lot of cases of people with guns, I mean, and if they're being attacked, they're happy to have gotten the gun out and made contact, you know, whether it be the leg or the chest, or but I don't even think if someone were attacking me or whatever, would I be thinking double tap or.
Double tap. Zombie land.
But that's, I don't know, I feel like if
I'm thinking, I just
surrounded-
wanna hit I wanna stop this, I wanna stop this person from coming at me and
By-
trying to protect myself, so, you know, whether I'm lucky enough to shoot off part of their ear, or hit them in the jaw, or the knee, hey, I'm happy if I can stop
Yeah,
the progression of that
that's-
violence. you
Yeah,
know?
that is true.
Here's where I'm at, because I agree with all of Evan's like sentiment. Like that's how I like think of like personally. Like I like to, you know, if I carry a gun every day, I like to hold myself to a certain standard. You know, I like to, you know, make sure that I'm competent. But I think that it's an issue when we can't have the government completely in control of that, because you can't. While I think people who carry guns should be proficient and they should be doing all that stuff, you know, you start getting into a situation where, like even right now, I mean, I like doing that stuff, but I can't fucking do that stuff because ammo went from 19 cents a round to fucking like 50 cents a round for 9mm, and you can't even get it right now. My father-in-law, he just bought his first, you know, gun ever, and he can't even shoot the thing because
You
there's
can't buy
no
any ammo.
at any of the
What,
shops.
What if you paid for the class, but they provided you ammo, sort of thing?
Well, I think if the government mandates, they should pay for the class.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. Okay,
Because
yeah, that's
now
good.
you're,
Good point.
you know, what about the single mom in Inglewood who, you know, is trying to protect her kids? So let's say if they allowed it, even I don't think
If it's
they
a
allow
$250
Inglewood,
class,
right?
does she have $250
Well,
to
no,
spend?
You know, but I think you're mandating, you're choosing who gets to, you know, exercise that right. You know, you start choosing, like, you have to be of a certain caliber or you have to be of a certain class to, you know, exercise your right. And if you look at, realistically, statistics are handgun fights, gunfights, you're looking at handgun, you're looking at, they usually last 3 seconds, are from about 3, I don't know if I want to say it's 3 feet or 3 yards in distance, and 3 rounds. So majority of your, you know, what you're going to be doing in real life is going to be like me to you, you know, maybe a little farther. And, you know, I want to be able to do more than that. I think people should be wanting to do more than that. And, I mean, I don't think he's wrong in being proficient, but I don't agree with the government being able to mandate that everyone.
Okay.
Because let's say, you know, someone's sitting in, you know, like you said, like a grandma's sitting in their house, or maybe even a grandma's carrying. Now, if she's getting attacked in her car or at a gas station, does she need to be able to, you know, do headshots from fucking, you know, 10 yards away? No.
But what
not
if she
really.
could?
But that would be fucking awesome.
You back the fuck up!
I mean,
But
I think
you're
all
gonna,
those
no,
things
that-
are, I
Dad,
think
you
those
gotta
are relevant points.
3
But-
minutes, and then we gotta.
But I just think it's, as a widespread thing, it's kind of unrealistic for, and I don't think you really need to be that good to defend yourself.
right, I think if you.
I think you should want to be.
Right, I think we should all want to be proficient and go and take target practice and know how to dismantle our gun, load it,
Yeah.
unload it, clean it,
carry it properly.
carry it properly. Yes, I think we should all know how, and use it with some proficiency. I don't think we need to be snipers or, you know, masters of the gun, but because I think if that becomes the law, then you're gonna lose over half of the people that are trying to carry a gun, because for one reason or another, they're either not gonna be proficient or not make the effort to do it. And then that just puts more people at losing their right to carry that gun. But again, just like you said, I mean, I hate to say it, but when it comes to proficiency at 3 yards or 3 feet or whatever, you know, like I said, it kind of goes back to me. If I just got that barrel pointed at them and I hit them, I'm happy. You know, if it were to ever come to something like that, I'm happy that, you know, I hit my target. And I'm hoping that, you know, I'm not in an area where I'm not doing a drive-by shooting. I'm not shooting into windows and homes, you know, and certainly would hope that I would never fire a gun within a cluster of people that, you know, my inaccuracy may kill the wrong person. I would never want that to happen.
I mean, I totally, I mean, I agree. Everything you said, that's how I want to carry myself.
I just
don't know how you do that on a, you know, I feel like to have that on a wide, like, scale range of, I feel like they will make that an absolute requirement that if, let's say, you don't fucking meet every single one of those criteria, then, like,
yeah,
you know, then you can't, like, that's what worries me. Like, me, like, I'm into the tactical classes. Like, I wanna, you know, eventually I'm going to take some classes where, you know, you shoot from cars or through glass, you do different, you know, drills, you know, and I think that stuff's fucking cool. I think it's great to know, and, like, I wanna be the best I can be with, you know, like I said, I wanna be able to pick someone that's, you know, trying to hurt me and not hurts an innocent person, so.
Hold that thought, we'll be right back, quick little break. Alright, let's go take one more smoke break and then we'll come back
Try
and
and
wrap
wrap
it
it
up. Yeah,
So I got a couple
we don't have to
things.
do the full half hour of the next one.
I was gonna
We'll
say-
do a few minutes and wrap it up.
Because I feel, just because I want to say that, I would feel more confident. Let's say you passed the same course I did, you passed.
We'll be right back,
passed.
you two.
If we're in a gas station, you had to meet a certain qualification of